only Jets fans can do this, right? Like, only Jets fans can spin Joe Flacco. The Joe Flacco signing is being a good thing. Like, how does anyone...
How could you not think Joe Flacco is not a good signing for $1.5 million as a backup?
Okay, well, he lost his job to a guy that couldn't throw 2 years ago, right? Because at the time, Lamar Jackson wasn't an MVP. In Lamar Jackson's rookie season, he was a quarterback that couldn't throw the football. Then he went to the Broncos and was so terrible that he couldn't even beat out a bad Drew Lock for the Broncos job. And now he needed neck surgery, and somehow he's a reliable backup. We're going to spin that. Like, I realize the name Joe Flacco has some cachet. Joe Flacco's a Super Bowl winner. But I think everyone's remembering 5-6 years ago Joe Flacco and not the current Joe Flacco.
Again, Jeff, nobody is taking shots at you on your thoughts of Joe Flacco and where Joe Flacco is in his career. But Joe Flacco is a reliable backup quarterback. And for you to think, I think we lost him. Jeff, are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought we lost you. But not to say that, and I do agree with you, a lot of Jet fans are probably blowing this out of proportion, that Joe Flacco signs with the New York Jets and he's a reliable quarterback. But again, the Jets have not had a healthy Sam Darnold, and the Jets don't expect that Joe Flacco's ever going to have an opportunity to step on the field. But having Trevor Siemians, having the quarterbacks they had last year, adding Joe Flacco is a better option than going with Trevor Siemians again or going after somebody of that magnitude. There are no great backup quarterbacks in the league except maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick, a journeyman, or maybe if you brought Cam Newton. But Cam Newton don't want to be a backup quarterback. So there really aren't a lot of reliable. And Andy Dalton wanted to go to Dallas because he lives in Dallas and he feels better and more proper over there in Dallas than he would probably with the New York Jets. So
is Andy Dalton really that much better than Joe Flacco, though, at this point?
I don't know. I don't know, but I bet you Jeff thinks so.
No, I would definitely think Andy Dalton is better. Like, again, how are you guys, like, not even paying attention to the last two seasons? Joe Flacco lost his job to a quarterback that could not throw in Baltimore. Then he lost his job to a guy that couldn't even play last year in Drew Lock. How are you guys ignoring the recent history and then saying, oh, but it's a good sign? Like, all you're doing is living off of the 5 years ago path.
He's a backup quarterback, Jeff. He is a backup quarterback. He is not expected to play this year. He's a guy that's going to be sitting the bench and helping Sam grow as a quarterback. How do you not think that this is a good signing? This is a good signing for the Jets.
Yeah, it's not like they overpaid him either.
Well, then hire him as the coach because, honestly, I think you're also forgetting he's not even cleared to play football right now.
No, he's not. But they brought him in for $1.5 or $1.6 million. If he's healthy enough to play this year, it's a good move for the Jets. If he isn't, it's a good move still for the Jets.
Listen, having someone there with knowledge that can teach him, yes, I agree, would be a good idea. But, like, in the unfortunate circumstance that Sam Darnold, if or when or whatever, and I'm not wishing it upon him, but if he got hurt, right, you wouldn't want Joe Flacco on the field.
Again, I don't. I'd rather Joe Flacco than Trevor Siemians. I would rather Joe Flacco than that kid
Luke Falk.
Luke Falk last year. I would rather Joe Flacco than even the kid Morgan, who they drafted this year. That I obviously think he's not ready to be a backup. And I think bringing in Joe Flacco just gives him a name on the bench that players respect, a guy that's won a Super Bowl. He was a Super Bowl MVP. And this is a guy that had one of the most prestige, one of the greatest runs in NFL history in the playoffs. So,
and locker room leader, too.
And a locker room leader that can help Sam Darnold out over there in that quarter of that at that position. So I like the move. I know you don't like the move, and I'm not blowing the move out of proportion like you are.
I get it. Like, hiring him for his knowledge is terrific. Like, I understand that. Like, and I'm fully on board with that. But for $1.5 million, you could have hired him to be the most expensive quarterback coach in the league for $1.5 million and gone and signed someone that can play.
It's just, to me, again, my argument isn't that Joe Flacco isn't a reliable quarterback this year. My question is he going to be a reliable quarterback when the Jets need him? And right now, they don't need him. And to bring him in for $1.5, $1.6 million, this was a good move for the New York Jets. The question is he going to be cleared? Is he going to be ready for the season? Is there going to be a season? And hopefully we don't get a chance to see him on the field when he is qualified to go on the field. So again, you might not like it, but as a Jet fan or even Jet fans out there that are sitting back and saying, who are we going to bring in as our backup quarterback? Are we going to bring up a fourth-round draft pick we don't even know can play in the NFL? Or are we going to bring Trevor Siemian or Luke Falk or one of those quarterbacks back? And hopefully, we're going to just hopefully throw a piece of you-know-what against the wall, and hopefully it sticks.
Again, I think we're in agreement. I think bringing Joe Flacco in for his knowledge, just his knowledge and his ability to teach, is a good move. Like, that's a good move. But you can't ignore Joe Flacco's actual body of work for the past 2 seasons and sit there and say, "Oh, that's good quarterback we brought."
I do want to get into this particular story before we get into talking to Rob. Jerry Sloan, who's one of the greatest, in my eyes, head coaches of my era, and I'm talking about the great Utah Jazz teams. I'm talking about the teams that played those Chicago Bulls in the 90s, the Karl Malones, the John Stocktons, even Jason Williams, and what we've seen with all the different, I'm sorry, not Jason Williams.
Byron.
No, the Williams that went to the Nets. I forget.
Yeah, it is Jason Williams.
I'm sorry, Jason Williams. Just all the different players that he has coached over the years, I'm sorry, not
John
Rod.
Stockton.
No, I said John Stockton.
Malone.
Rudy Gobert. I'm sorry. Rudy Gobert and all the young players that have gone through the teams right now, the team of the Utah Jazz. But what makes Jerry Sloan so great wasn't the fact that he played against those great Chicago Bulls teams. It wasn't. Jerry Sloan's career as a head coach is a remarkable, remarkable career. And I know a lot of people say, a lot of young players, young people don't know who Jerry Sloan was. And what makes Jerry Sloan so special, and John Stockton said it best, Jerry Sloan was a guy, he was a player's coach. He really was. And this is a guy that's won a significant amount of basketball games in the NBA. He also played for the Bulls. In the olden days.
66 to 76, he played for the Bulls with a shooting guard. Mm-hmm. Not a bad player. 14 points a game average for his career.
Well, we're not even talking about the player and the player of his stature. It's the coach and who he was as a head coach. 2-time NBA All-Star, and we're going to go through what his career was for the NBA. 4-time NBA All-Defensive First Team. This was a great defensive player. 2-time NBA All-Defensive Second Team. Number 4 retired with the Chicago Bulls. So you talk about all the players that retired with the Chicago Bulls. One of them was Jerry Sloan, a guy that averaged 10,571 points in his career in the NBA, 5,615 rebounds, and 1,925 assists. And he was a great guy. He was a great defensive player. Led the league in steals a couple of years. I mean, this guy's career was remarkable. And even and I'm not even talking about as a player, as a head coach. This guy's remarkable career. How many wins did he have? Jerry Sloan have at a head coach?
1,221 wins and 803 losses.
Shout out to Kenny for saying hello to us. So shout out to Kenny Rayner.
Win percentage of 603 for his career. And
I don't care about his win percentage. What you're hearing right now is Jerry Sloan had over 1,000 wins as a head coach. How many coaches in NBA history had 1,000 wins as an NBA head coach?
He's 4th all time.
He's 4th all time. He's one of the greatest head coaches to ever coach in the NBA. And I know a lot of people knew he was sick. Parkinson is not a disease that is something that you can hide. One of the reasons why Jerry Sloan retired as an NBA head coach was because of Parkinson's. And we know about Michael J. Fox and all the big names that have had this disease and are still alive. Jerry Sloan, who I think died at the age, how old was he?
I think he was 78.
78. This is a guy that had a long-lasting career, not even as an NBA player, but as an NBA head coach. And I know a lot of people knew he was sick for all these years, and this is a guy that not only was highly touted as a player, but a great, great talent evaluator. He understood talent and what the NBA needed in the game where you needed a point guard and you needed a power forward or a center that can dominate the middle. Karl Malone was one of the greatest power forwards of all time.
He's the second highest scorer in NBA history.
And John Stockton, who's one of the most underrated point guards that nobody even talks about it. Nobody even tries to put him in the whole storyline of who the top point guards of all time is. Some people put Isaiah Thomas. Some people put Steph Curry. Some people put Jason Kidd or even Allen Iverson.
Magic Johnson.
Or Magic Johnson. Nobody puts John Stockton there.
Meanwhile, John Stockton leads the league all time in assists and steals.
John Stockton is one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game of basketball, which is never even touted. Some of these young analysts or broadcasters really don't know who this kid is or this guy was as a player. But Jerry Sloan, who was very well respected around the NBA and really throughout professional sports, and Michael Jordan said it best, one of the hardest teams he's ever played against in his career of basketball was the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the back-to-back years, yes, they beat the Utah Jazz, but they went through highly profiled games in those NBA Final Championships.
I think the Jazz won the first two games, both those times, one of which was in Chicago, too. So they definitely gave them a tough test. And 64 and 18, 62 and 20 were those two teams, or those 2 years for the Jazz in the regular season. Again, it's a small market team. It's not like Chicago that you could bring in these players. They had to really home grow a lot of those guys with Stockton and Malone. And Jerry Sloan did an excellent job with that. And obviously, he did that with even after that, too. His records weren't as good, but they were still a consistent playoff team for the most part. And again, like you were saying, one of only 9 coaches to finish without over 1,000 wins.
It's a really remarkable career as a basketball player who is only one of probably 10 or 11 numbers that has ever been retired with the Chicago Bulls. Mm-hmm. And then you talk about what he did as a head coach, which is one of the greatest, really, one of the biggest accomplishments any NBA coach has ever had.
No doubt about that. He's definitely the winningest coach. Or no, he's the second winningest coach that has not won a title. Oddly enough, Don Nelson, who leads the league in wins, did not win a title either. So he's second in that, and he's 4th all time.
Shout out to Jerry Sloan's family, a guy that is not only well respected in the NBA and the culture of what the NBA is today, but the culture of head coaching. And you could ask Coach K, Coach Williams, anybody in coaching, who Jerry Sloan is and how well is he respected, not only with the players, but some of the coaches, the highly profile coaches in college basketball. Jerry Sloan's name is definitely one of those guys you have to look up to. So shout out to Jerry Sloan and his family, a very well respectable head coach in the NBA and has been in the NBA for many, many years. May he rest in peace.